In my life so far, I've lived in one house, but I've had many homes, including the swimming pool and the dance studio. I feel that home is where the heart is, as cliche as that sounds. Even though I'm only 17 years old, my home isn't in this decade. I love old. Old cars, old music, and old culture. My parents didn't assimilate into modern times like the other parents did. Whenever we wanted to listen to newer music, my parents would turn on the oldie station. My sisters and I hated it. But slowly, we got used to it. The 1999 desktop computer sat in our computer room until 2011. My dad got his first cell phone in 2010. My parents taught us to respect the older things in life because they'd soon be gone. My mom's side of the family has a history with old cars. My mom's Uncle Vernie bought old cars for a cheap price and repaired them. He would typically take 2 years to repair a single car, but would work on multiple cars at a time because sometimes the steps in between would take days or even weeks. Even though he was retired from work, he would repair cars full time. At least once a month when we were younger, we would stay with Auntie Mane and Uncle Vernie. Uncle Vernie wouldn't let me see the cars because I was a young girl, and he firmly believed that cars should be reserved for men. As much as it hurt me to be told that cars weren't for girls, I still loved going to Uncle Vernie's house. I considered his garage home whenever I went to visit. My Uncle David loves restoring old cars in his garage. His house is filled with trinkets fresh out of the 60s. He lets me come over and just look around, but he also lets me check out and help repair the old cars. His cars are from the mid-30s, but completely restored to 1930s goodness. But I just like to listen to how each trinket works. Uncle David was the one who told me that I could do whatever I wanted in the world, as long as I did what I loved and loved what I did. That simple sentence made me feel at home in his house. My deep connection and respect for the older things in life makes Uncle David's house home. Many kids in today's society want the newest car on the market. Not me. I want an old muscle car that I can repair. I want a 58 Ford Edsel, a 66 Pontiac GTO, and a 67 Mustang Fastback. I don't want a car that is just like everyone else's. I want an old car that people will want to stop and look at, and that I can proudly say I fixed it myself. I hated the Beatles for a short time after I found out that they knocked Elvis off the top of the charts. But one day, I was looking for a Volkswagen Beetle and misspelled it to be Beetle, like the band. Videos of their songs came up in the search, so I decided to watch their most popular videos. Forget about the previous hatred for the Beatles, I was instantly hooked from the first video. But within 6 months, the Beatles were an obsession. Everything I did had a Beatles reference. I discovered the Beatles during Torture by Catholic School. But whenever I heard them, life immediately became better. I grew to adore the shaggy haircuts and the more psychedelic songs, such as I Am the Walrus, because they were nonsensical. I love old culture because life was simpler without cell phones and social media. Bullying was less severe because people couldn't hide behind their portable devices and pick on people. The part of old culture that I refuse to be a part of is the extensive use of drugs. I may have hippie ideals about peace and things like that, but I refuse to ruin my poor body with drugs. When I walk to a 60s themed event, I feel like I have traveled through time to reach my home. I feel that home is such a general term and is extremely hard to narrow down to a single description. But home is whatever you do or wherever you are that makes you smile uncontrollably. Home should be where your heart is happiest.